Warning, warning, warning! This video contains spoilers. I repeat, this video contains spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, please click away. You have been warned.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Such an iconic opening to one of the most legendary Nickelodeon cartoons ever created. A cartoon so good that I almost consider it an anime. I honestly even say it's possibly the greatest cartoon of all time. I know, that's a crazy claim, but please, let me explain before you guys tear me to shreds. Avatar: The Last Airbender had it all. Beautiful animations, intense and impactful fight scenes, charming and dynamic characters, amazing storytelling, well-crafted world building, a compelling atmosphere, hilarious comedic moments, and so much more. Avatar was so exceptional that even my mom would watch it at night before going to bed, and my little sister and I would secretly watch it too. At that time, my little sister and I shared a room, and our room was connected directly to my parents' room. The door between the rooms had these little see-through squares all over, but my parents had a curtain covering their side of the door. The curtain covered about 99% of the view, leaving just enough space for my sister and me to each watch with one eye. We secretly watched Avatar: The Last Airbender for countless nights until the Fire Nation attacked and we got caught. So for the rating, I am a little biased because of all the nostalgia, so take that into consideration. So back then, with my powerful 12-year-old mind, I was inexperienced and uneducated. I would rate the Avatar: The Last Airbender a perfect 10 out of 10. But after more than a decade, I decided to introduce the series to my girlfriend because it was her first time ever watching the series. I know, it was crazy. But rewatching the series as an adult, I felt like I needed to give it a fair and unbiased rating. So now, I rate Avatar: The Last Airbender an 11 out of 10. That shit was a masterpiece. My tiny brain back then couldn't process all the minuscule details and I overlooked so much. Now I truly appreciate the series for what it is and for what it deserves. The only thing I'm actually disappointed about is that they never continued with Book 4. I would have loved to see the gang after they saved the world. Did it live up to my expectations? The simple answer is no. But the more vague and confusing answer is, it satisfied an itch that couldn't reach before. So let me explain. Leading up to the movie's release, Paramount just kept taking L after L after L. Literally, the entire movie was leaked months before the official release, which was a major factor in its downfall. This isn't necessarily Paramount's fault, but it's like a fat kid losing a race because the judge announced he lost before the race even started. And then, for whatever reason, Paramount made a brain-dead decision and chose not to release it in the movie theaters. And that's a lot coming from me, because I don't even like going to the movie theaters. Watching this movie on the big screen would have been a dream come true. Paramount obviously doesn't understand its fans, and I firmly believe that if the movie had been released in theaters, it would have made millions, even though the movie got leaked beforehand. Now for the actual cons for the movie. The biggest problem with the movie is that it was too short. It was about 90 minutes long. By limiting themselves to such a short runtime, the story felt rushed and they couldn't really give each member of the gang the amount of screen time they deserved. I understand that the main focus of the movie was Aang and that Paramount wanted to get the main story across. It was just very underwhelming, especially after waiting more than a decade for Paramount to release something Avatar related. And I wish we could have seen the gang bonding and socializing more. They didn't really do anything particular impactful to the story. Don't get me wrong, every time they showed up it was a delight, and they did have a couple awesome scenes, but it would have been nice to see them incorporated more heavily into the story. Compared to the original series, it's a little disappointing. Honestly, they should have either made the movie 3.5 hours long, or turned it into a TV series so they could probably expand on the smaller details. Another minor critique is the fight scenes. Don't get me wrong, the animation was beautiful. but the fight choreography was pretty lackluster compared to the original series. In the original show, almost every fight scene felt creative or impactful. In the movie, however, many of them felt generic, including the final fight. Also, Aang felt incredibly weak, especially when he was in the Avatar state. And I absolutely hated the scene where he struggled to climb the mountain. Bro, he could have easily climbed that mountain when he was 112. I'm just nitpicking now, so please keep that in mind. So 1. Suki was not shown until the very end during the ending credits. She was in the movie for a total of like 3 seconds, and she was just standing there. Menacingly! 2. The Denied was completely useless. 3. I could have lived without the spirit world interactions. And 4. I really wish Sokka had his sword again. It didn't have to be the meteor sword that he lost, but if Toph and Sokka had gone back to find it years later, it would have been amazing to see again. Now, for the positives, it was not all bad. First of all, look at the characters. They're all so fucking hot. Like, why are they so hot? Toph is still my favorite because goddamn she is tough. Or can I say, tough? The movie absolutely did the character designs justice. They look incredible. The voice actors also did a good job overall. The only complaint I would say is like, I would have loved for Zuko to have returned. Honestly, I don't really care that everyone else sounded different. The only voice actors I really hated was Avatar Roku, Monk Gyatso, and the Cabbage Merchant, because they sounded completely different from their original cast. Another positive, as I said before, the animation and art styles were absolutely stunning, and the main plot was interesting too. It just felt rushed, and the movie desperately needed to be longer. And for the final positive, I enjoyed the nostalgic moments they've added throughout the movie, so that was kind of a nice touch. Now for my final rating for Avatar Aang the movie. After taking everything into consideration, I rate it a 3 plus 3 plus 6 divided by 2 minus 1. And that equals, drumroll please, an 8 out of 10 if you know how to do math. And I do have just one question. Where the fuck was Sozin's statue if she was erased or forgotten? Like, honestly, she should have been still be in the Avatar line for the original, so they couldn't really be forgotten. So that's it for the YouTube video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Appa, let's go on an adventure. Appa, yip yip.
Don't tell me what to do.